I talk to my kids about sensitive topics without overwhelming them. And we're talking about bullying. We're talking about the talk. Are we talking about
there's a but we actually in the pre-show we were talking a little bit about the talk. And I'm not going to go into much about it, but I've been listening to a podcast, and several of the episodes are about having the talk with your kids. And I actually, my kids have been asking for more details on the talk, and so a couple weeks back, I brought each of them in turn, even the 5-year-old, to the back, and instead of giving them whatever talk I would have given them, all I did was I opened it up for them to ask questions, and I prefaced it by saying, "Look, depending on the question, I may not give you a full answer, but I will give you an answer that's appropriate for your age."
Right.
And so, yeah, so they asked all kinds of questions. The older two asked almost completely identical questions. And the 5-year-old, who had no idea what the talk was supposed to be, he comes back and starts asking random stuff like, if you see a cat, are you gonna pick it up and take it home? Like just like nothing to do with the talk.
That's great.
Like,
That's so good.
And regardless of the answer, he would judge how correct it was, and so it was more like a game show to him. He would be like, correct, or nope, that's not the answer. So it was fun, but in general, I think, especially sensitive topics, you can let them steer the conversation to what they're comfortable talking about. Now there are times when you do need to go into things that they're not comfortable talking about simply because they need to know. But I think keeping it age appropriate and letting them guide the conversation is a good way to go about it.
Fair enough.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
I mean, my answer is I'm always blunt, you know.
Yeah.
I'm blunt to their age level, but I'm blunt. I mean, I just sound it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, Joe, you hit it very close to the head of the nail. I think that where I see it go badly is where parents feel this need to go into great detail with a 4-year-old. And you know, when a 4-year-old says, "Where do babies come from?" all they really need to know probably is, well, when mommy and daddy love each other really a lot, then babies come out of that. And they probably don't need to know much more than that unless they ask a specific question. But most of the time they'll go, okay. And that's kind of it. Yeah. Now, I will say I had to have a really uncomfortable conversation with my son twice, and on sensitive topics. One was he was 8, and he was getting ready for Cub Scouts, and as part of joining the troop, in the front of the Cub Scout manual is a sexual education thing, and you were required as a parent to talk with your kid about that. Touching on specific details.
There's no touching in Cub Scouts,
but I think it was all because of that.
Yeah.
And so I had to have the conversation with him, and it was way more uncomfortable for me than it was for him. And he basically said, "Okay."
You know, honestly, with my kids, we had the internet, so I was like, "Hey, man, don't touch me there. That is my no square." That was the. Yeah. But other than those talks, overcoming fear. I talked about Crosby making her shoot this. Oh, go. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to touch on the other one.
Yeah.
The other one was my son was 8 or 9. It was around that same time period, and 9/11 happened. And he got sent home from school. And I said, okay, so you probably have heard a bunch of stuff at school about what's going on. Do you have any questions? And he said, yeah. Why did they do that? And I went, in my head, why did you ask me that question?
Did you go all Charlie in your head with the red
That's the most complicated question that could have been asked that day, right? But especially to deal with kids. And my only answer was, well, there are bad people who don't like us, and this is the way that they chose to act out against us. And that was it. That was all the detail that he needed, but that all I could give him, because kids can't understand the geopolitical crap, right? And so I think we just have to know who we're talking to, know your audience, and give an appropriate answer for that audience, whether it's a kid or not. And I think I see parents all the time just go into way more detail than is necessary because it makes them feel better.
Yep.
And it's not about them.
And ultimately, I think it's crucial that you foster an environment where your kids are not afraid to come to you with a question.
Yes.
Because if they're afraid to come to you with a question, they're going to go to the internet, and who knows what they're going to find there. And so,
especially now.
Yeah. And so, I like I said before, when I was talking to my boys, I'm like, you're going to have to trust me that I will tell you what you need to know now, and we will have the questions you're asking. I know that they're not satisfactory answers to what you actually want to know, but we will have that conversation in more detail when you're older. And so I made sure to tell them, look, I want you to come to me, and I will answer honestly, but I will only tell you what you need to know. And that's good. Yeah. That's for your age. And so, yeah, it can be like walking a tightrope sometimes,
or a tightrope.
Yeah, tightrope.
Yeah. I never worried about it. I just always hit them with as much as I thought their brains could hold. I mean, that's why I didn't go. I was like, I'm blunt at this. Mine overcoming fear, right? It's not always about the hawks and the hornets. It's you can talk about other things that need to be sensitive. And I remember trying to run the Cat 6 cable across the attic to the security camera, and Ryland was the right size for it. He could crawl up in there and this and another. And apparently there was a trap from a pest control person that they never came back to empty. And I guess there's a dead rat or something in the trap. And he went up to look, and then he's like, oh no. And I had to grab him. I'm like, dude, we'd been working on it for hours. He was sweating. I was sweating. This is the last thing we had to do. And I had to figure out how not to get angry and just push him wayward edge and somehow motivate him to get back up there. And basically I told him, it's quite, I pulled him aside, like, man, we've worked hard. You cannot let your choices in this thing, because I can't do it. I cannot get up in there. Your older brother can't. He has a hard time. The girls we've done this job. We got to finish this job. And I said, and it's dead. It ain't gonna hurt you, man. It's dead. It's in a cage. You don't have to like it. And I said, I'm not asking you to think it's Mickey Mouse or anything, but you gotta finish the job. And he did. He was good. And then we got somebody else to come remove it, because I wasn't going to get it either. But the reality is, I think, Joe, is, in all seriousness, I'm not setting up a bit, is that it's what you don't tell them that can hurt them. So don't avoid things because you feel uncomfortable. I agree with Kurt. Don't go into too many details because it makes you feel better, and they just don't understand anything you said past the first sentence. But never, ever, ever avoid. Because I thought I was going to make fun of you a little bit, Joe. I thought you were going to say, well, I'll give you the real answer, boys, when I feel comfortable. I'm like, yeah, when he's dead, because he doesn't want to tell you those details, man. But that's not what you said. So
my dad never had the talk with me. So that never happened.
He took you to NASCAR. They did it for you.